Lewis Hamilton just got the upgrade he's been waiting his entire Ferrari career for, and it could not have arrived at a more critical moment. What if the disadvantage that's been quietly holding him back all season is about to disappear? What if the 50-point gap in the championship isn't as permanent as it looks right now? And what does it actually mean when a team like Ferrari decides to bring their biggest upgrade of the year at exactly this point in the calendar? Stick around, because this story could reshape the entire second half of the 2026 season. Let's start with the problem this upgrade is actually designed to solve, because you can't appreciate the fix without understanding the pain point first. All season long, Hamilton has been remarkably honest about one specific weakness in Ferrari's car: a straight-line speed deficit of roughly 3 to 4 tenths of a second per lap compared to Mercedes. Think about what that number actually means in racing terms. 3 to 4 tenths isn't a small gap you can make up through better tire management or a cleverer strategy call. That's the kind of deficit that shows up on every single straight, every single lap, race after race. And yet, despite that handicap, Hamilton has still managed 5 podiums, and Ferrari's first win in his colors back in Barcelona. Now picture what happens to those results once that straight-line disadvantage starts closing. That's exactly what this new upgrade is aimed at. Ferrari is introducing an all-new chassis for both Hamilton and Charles Leclerc, arriving at the Dutch Grand Prix at Zandvoort. And this isn't a minor tweak bolted onto the existing car. It's described as a direct evolution of the upgrade Ferrari first introduced back in Barcelona, the very race where Hamilton finally ended his 686-day wait for a win. The core idea behind it is simple to explain but incredibly difficult to execute: generating more downforce purely through the shape and structure of the car's bodywork, rather than relying on bigger wings or more aggressive setups that come with their own trade-offs. In a sport where fractions of a second separate the front of the grid from the midfield, an upgrade like this, landing on a car that's already been performing above expectations, has the potential to be the single biggest turning point of Ferrari's season. So here's the question worth sitting with. If Hamilton has been podium-capable all year with a car that's down 3 to 4 tenths on the straights, what happens once that gap starts shrinking? Does he suddenly become the fastest driver on the grid over a single lap? Does Ferrari's race pace, already strong enough to deliver consistent top-6 finishes without a single retirement all season, become genuinely dominant? Nobody can answer that with certainty yet, but the fact that the question is even being asked tells you how significant this upgrade could be. And it's not just the chassis. Ferrari still has a second engine upgrade in reserve, one of the 2 additional development upgrade opportunities allowed under this year's regulations, a system the FIA uses specifically to help teams close performance gaps in their power units. Ferrari already used their first opportunity back at the Austrian Grand Prix, and while that update delivered only a modest gain, there's still a second one left to deploy before the season ends. Stack that potential power unit gain on top of a brand new, more efficient chassis, and you start to understand why the mood inside Maranello has shifted from cautious optimism to something closer to genuine confidence. Now let's talk about what this actually means for Hamilton specifically, because context matters here more than almost anything else. Heading into the summer break, Hamilton sits second in the Drivers' Championship, 50 points behind Kimi Antonelli, the rookie who inherited his old seat at Mercedes and has been converting Mercedes' dominant car into race wins all season. 50 points is a real gap. It's not insurmountable, but it's the kind of number that requires either a string of near-perfect results from Hamilton combined with mistakes from Antonelli, or a genuine step forward in car performance that changes the competitive picture entirely. This upgrade is Ferrari's answer to that second scenario. It's not a hope. It's an actual engineering commitment to closing that gap through pure performance rather than waiting for a rival to slip up. Team principal Fred Vasseur has been unusually direct about this point all season, repeatedly emphasizing that Ferrari's development pace, the ability to keep bringing meaningful upgrades race after race without losing momentum, is exactly what separates a team that fades in the second half of the season from one that peaks at the right moment. This new chassis is the clearest proof yet that Ferrari is trying to be the second kind of team. And Hamilton himself has echoed that same message in his own comments, talking about the team pushing hard and bringing new parts weekend after weekend, with more still in the pipeline beyond just this one upgrade. But here's where it gets genuinely interesting, and where the suspense really builds heading into Zandvoort. New chassis upgrades in Formula One don't always translate perfectly from the wind tunnel to the actual racetrack. Sometimes a car that looks faster on paper takes several races for the team to fully understand and extract the performance from. Sometimes the gains show up exactly as predicted, right out of the box. Which version of this story is Ferrari about to experience? Will Hamilton and Leclerc immediately feel the difference in Zandvoort? Or will it take a few races of fine-tuning before the true performance gain becomes visible on the timing sheets? That uncertainty is part of what makes this such a pivotal moment. Ferrari has made a bold bet, and now they have to prove it pays off in real conditions, under real pressure, with a title fight already well underway. There's also the matter of how Mercedes is reacting to all of this. According to reports out of Italy, Mercedes has already been forced into what's being described as an emergency plan B, specifically because of what Ferrari is bringing to Zandvoort. Think about what that actually tells you. Mercedes has won 8 of the first 11 races this season. They are, by every measure, the dominant team of 2026. And yet even they are adjusting their own approach because of a chassis upgrade from a rival sitting 50 points behind in the championship. That is not the behavior of a team that feels safe. That's the behavior of a team that has looked at Ferrari's trajectory and decided they can't afford to simply defend their lead passively anymore. So what does success actually look like for Hamilton if this upgrade delivers everything Ferrari hopes it will? It probably doesn't mean an instant single-race turnaround that erases 50 points overnight. Championships rarely work that dramatically. What it more realistically means is Hamilton converting more of those podiums into wins, closing out qualifying sessions closer to pole rather than a few tenths behind, and putting genuine pressure on Antonelli in a way that forces the young Mercedes driver to feel real heat for the first time in his rookie title challenge. Small gains, compounded over the second half of a season, are exactly how championship gaps get closed, and exactly how they get built in the first place. And that brings us to the real stakes of this story. This isn't just about one upgrade at one race weekend. It's about whether Ferrari has finally built the tool Hamilton needs to turn a promising, podium-heavy season into a genuine championship fight. Hamilton has done remarkably well with a car that's been objectively behind Mercedes in a critical performance area all year. Now Ferrari is handing him a car that's supposed to close that gap. The only question left is whether it actually does. So heading into Zandvoort, here's what everyone in the paddock will be watching. Does Hamilton's pace jump immediately, or does it take time to unlock? Does Ferrari's straight-line deficit finally start closing, race by race? And does Mercedes' Plan B actually hold up against a Ferrari that suddenly looks like it's building serious momentum at exactly the right time? We're about to find out. And this single upgrade could end up defining how the rest of Hamilton's 2026 season is remembered. What do you think? Is this the upgrade that finally gets Hamilton back into a real title fight? Or is 50 points simply too big a gap to close no matter how good the new chassis is? Let me know in the comments because I want to hear where you land on this. And if you don't want to miss how this plays out at Zandvoort and beyond, make sure you're subscribed with notifications turned on. This is shaping up to be one of the most important stretches of Ferrari's entire season. See you in the next one.